Oh yeah, I've made plenty of mistakes. That's the best way to learn, is the expensive way.
Towing looks simple, until it's not. One wrong move and what started as a stuck truck can turn into thousands of dollars in added damage. I'm Lauren Fletcher, and today we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to recover and tow trucks and trailers. At the center of it is Cascade Heavy Rescue and its owner, Casey LaDelle.
Well, my name's Casey LaDelle. I own Cascade Heavy Rescue. I've been in business in the trucking industry. I think this is going on 15 years, somewhere about there. I've done everything from hauling wood chips to heavy haul, low bed work, which was the bulk of it, and then heavy towing.
When it comes to towing, you never really know what you're walking into. A call might sound simple, a truck stuck in a ditch on the side of the road, but more often than not, it's a full-blown recovery challenge. That's why Casey always sets out prepared for anything.
Yeah, so we still do heavy haul and equipment transport and stuff like that, and then also in the heavy towing. And with the heavy towing, you never know what you're gonna get called for. So the truck kind of has to be set up for no matter what the call is, I can just turn the key and go. Because a weird thing in the towing industry is people like to try to really downplay their situation. I don't know if it's to try to make it not sound as bad, get a better price, something like that, and you show up and it's almost never what they say it is, which I don't get, because they'll like tell, oh, I just got stuck in a creek, and then you show up like, nope, you're upside down in a creek. Like, I don't know why you didn't tell me that. Like, I was gonna see it sooner or later. So you kind of have to be prepared for anything. And like today, we're towing trailers just from a parking lot to a shop so they can go get a bunch of work done. But we have the wrecker because when we get done with this, I got to go tow a broken down box truck. So now with the same truck, I can tow these, when I get done, go do an actual truck tow.
Casey's point here is key. What a driver says on the phone almost never matches what he finds on scene. And that's exactly why preparation matters.
Sometimes stuff like this is harder than a wreck recovery that's over the bank, like especially when it's wrecked and it's totaled. Like, hey, we can just hook onto stuff and start pulling. The worst is when they're almost wrecked, but they're not hurt yet. And it's like, okay, now I have to get it out of this situation without hurting it, because it's not damaged yet, but it's in a very bad spot and it could be very easily damaged in the recovery. Like this right here, we got 53-foot trailers and a 38, well, once this is folded down, we're gonna be like 42-foot long truck in front of it, and they put them in this parking lot with a little short wheelbase tractor in the very back corner. Now I'm looking like, how are we gonna get these out of here? We're gonna have to do some major wiggling to make this happen. But we had an RV, a big Class A diesel pusher RV that was hanging off the edge of a bank. I don't know how it wasn't rolled when we showed up. We had this truck and a rotator there. Not a bit of damage to it, but it was like you could just push on it, it'd be tumbling down the mountain. And we got to get it out of there without ripping suspension apart, bending frames, cracking all the fiberglass on it. And we all made the comment of recovery guys of like, this would be so much easier if this thing would have just rolled. Because then we could just hook on and pull it out. Right. And now it took twice as long because we had to be so careful not to damage the thing. And then once we got it up out of there, they were able to hop in and drive away and continue their vacation.
These recoveries aren't about muscle, they're about precision. The right tool, the right setup, and knowing exactly where to pull can make the difference between a clean recovery and a costly disaster.
We had another one, a Porsche, like off-road SUV that went like 60 feet down the bank through the brush, crashing all over. Didn't hurt a thing on this. And it was like, it's on a cliff. Like, how do we get it back up without bending Porsche control arms and pieces? And the problem is in the brush, like when a vehicle goes through the brush, it lays it all over one way. So now when you go to pull it back through it, it fights you the whole way. So a lot of times when they're wrecked really bad, it's easier, because I'm not saying you don't have to care, but your options are a lot bigger in what you can do.
And just when you think the job can't get more complicated, it does. From trucks hanging off cliffs, to SUVs buried in brush, to a trailer in a parking lot, every recovery is a puzzle waiting to be solved.
This trailer here there's no frame. The box is the frame. So when these are stuck somewhere and you pull out, like, what do you hook to? There's places you can hook and you can pull until these winches stall out, and there's places you can hook and as soon as you start pulling, this thing's coming apart. So you do have to be very careful in that regard. Trucks the same. When trucks are stuck, what you can hook to and what you can't. A lot of that's learned, luckily, again, on the wrecked ones, because it's like, can I hook to that right there? And I do, and I pull, and it held up great. Okay, now I know if one's stuck here, that's a good point to hook from. Or it breaks and comes apart. It's like, all right, so now I know. If there's a stuck truck somewhere, don't hook to that part to pull it out. And you gotta like think, a truck's stuck in the mud and you're hooking on the front to pull it out. Well, the front axle in that truck is what most people are gonna go hook to. It's just a few U-bolts and a couple pins holding that front axle in there. It's not made to take any pulling force. And a lot of guys have ripped front axles out of trucks doing that. So you got to go under that and go back and find a cross member of the rear ends. A lot of times we'll hook to the trailers themselves to pull the truck out, because the trailer axles might be what's buried, but you hook to the front of the truck and you're putting all that pulling force to get those axles way back there unstuck through everything in between. Where if you just run the line beside the truck and grab up into the trailer fifth wheel plate or something here, you're pulling on the part that's stuck and all this is just kind of being pushed in front of it. So you can kind of eliminate your stresses on your different parts by what we say is pull on what's stuck. If these axles right here are stuck in the mud, don't hook to the front one, hook to these ones. If the trailer axles are stuck, don't hook to the truck, hook to the trailer. It's not always practical depending on the situation, but that's kind of the general rule of thumb we try for.
That's the difference experience makes. Whether it's a tractor trailer in a tight lot or a vehicle hanging off the edge of a bank, a professional knows how to approach the situation without making things worse. For fleets, this is where the trust factor comes in. The wrong tow can cost thousands in damage and even more in downtime. The right pro gets your truck back on the road without added headaches. Not every job looks dramatic, but even something as simple as moving storage trailers comes with its own hurdles. Old brakes, broken airlines, and dry-rotted tires all pop up. And if you're not ready, that's a recipe for trouble. Casey shows why having the right equipment and the right mindset matters. With his wrecker, he's prepared to handle whatever trailers throw at him and get them rolling safely to the shop. Cascade Heavy Rescue proves that experience, knowledge, preparation, and a whole lot of ingenuity makes all the difference. Because when your fleet needs help, you don't just need a tow, you need a pro. I'm Lauren Fletcher. Before you head out, hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the road.